Well, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is it, the moment we've been waiting for. To many in the world, they have no idea what's going on, but to those of us who've been watching, we know these are the end of days. And as we speak, the prophesied future is playing out right in front of us. Welcome to Mikhail Messenger. It's great to be with you guys today to give you a quick report on this and some quick shout outs. Katie, great to see you. Donnie, Viral Saint, Sue, Michael, KR, Christy, Michael, is that different? The same Michael, Leanne, and Thankful Gamer, Wendy. Guys, the Lion and the Lamb, Bobby, great to see you guys. They've done it, guys. The U.S. and Israel have bombed Iran. That is the news that's coming in. I know it sounds unbelievable. I know this may be the first place you're hearing it. For those of you who are watching, you probably have heard about it already, but I know sometimes I share these things and people think, you're being sensational. It is sensational. We're living in sensational times. What can I say? It's the end times. We're living in the end of days. I mean, that's just how it goes when you live in the end of days. It's sensational times. Guys, the U.S. have greenlit a strike, and now the latest report is that they have struck. I'm going to show you that as well, but I want to show you both of these articles. They greenlit a strike against Iran. The Israeli F-35s entered Iranian airspace. That is huge. They entered actual Iranian airspace, guys. Up to now, they've only been bombing Hezbollah in Syria and kind of, bombing around, picking around the edges. But now they've actually entered into Iranian airspace. That is over the top. Submarines have entered Iranian territorial waters. So both airspace and their waters have been entered. Guys, the U.S. have been pushing for this war. They want this war, not the country, not the people, but the demagogue leaders, the despots who have the cabal, the wicked tyrants who've taken over our Western nations. They are pushing for this because they want to bring in their one world government, and the only way to do that is to try to take America down and everybody else with them. So out of the ashes, the phoenix can rise. That's their vision. So they are pushing for this to happen. This really looks like was what's going to be the hook in the mouth of Putin that's going to pull him down from the north as he's kind of wrapping things up there. According to him, Ukraine is done. That they finished that what they wanted to do there. So now they can come down and get this going. And what I'm feeling, what I'm guessing is that Israel is going to become the target for this, so that they can clear out, from their perspective, clear out the Middle East of any Western influence whatsoever. Just be done with Israel, be done with the U.S., and they can seal off the Middle East and that territory for themselves. And so they are all uniting now, and they're coming against the U.S. and Israel. So U.S. and Israel have struck first, which you have to argue is probably the smartest move, considering they were about to seal an Iranian nuclear deal that would have, as we know, Iran preaches every day about destroying the big Satan, as they call the U.S., and little Satan Israel, I guess. So it's understandable why they might strike first here. Well, they have done it, and the final phase of preparation has begun. According to this, they're moving in for the kill, and I'm going to show you another article that says they've actually already bombed. A rapid escalation is coming on the Middle East front as processes are taking place to change Israel's strategy against Iran. According to authoritative sources, Israel has entered the final stage of its preparations for a strike against Iran. Before the attack, we will see an increase in military strikes. Now, this is just today's news, guys, but within hours after this article, they've already launched, it sounds like. Saudi media reports that Israeli F-35s recently entered Iranian airspace, while Israeli submarines entered Iranian territorial waters. I mean, the fact that they're in their airspace and in their waters, I mean, that's already war. You can't cross into someone's borders and think that's going to be okay. It just doesn't work like that, especially Iran, of all places, who just breathes bloody murder. They eat bloody murder for breakfast over there when it comes to breathing threats against the U.S. and Israel. Israeli warplanes could indeed cross Jordanian airspace following the direction of Iraq, with a possible entry into Iranian airspace. The situation clearly shows that Israel is preparing to attack Iran, probably waiting for the outcome of the nuclear deal. No, they're probably not waiting for the outcome of the nuclear deal. I think that's the whole point, is that they want to cut that off before it becomes a deal, which is also confirmed by the sharp increase in the activity of Israeli aircraft in Iraqi airspace and over the waters of the Persian Gulf. An unconfirmed report says that Israeli and U.S. troops are secretly preparing for strike operations in Iran. Now, coupled with this, guys, the Iranians, from reports, are actually planning on dirty bombs, nuke bombs, and NUKEs, that they are going to be releasing as well. Who knows where? So I guess we can guess where, but that's the word on the street. I'm going to show you an article on that really quick too. Israeli F-35 fighter jets have entered Iranian airspace. They've penetrated Iranian airspace several times in the past few months, Saudi Arabia's state news agency reports. Yeah, but this is a little bit different, I think. They're going into Iranian airspace. This is not just doing practice drills. I mean, they're on the move when they're actually moving in for the kill. The London-based ILAF report says the aircraft successfully evaded Russian and Iranian radars during the operations, etc. Israeli submarines approached the coast of Iran. At the same time, Israeli submarines armed with cruise missiles approached the Iranian coast within striking distance. I mean, that's war. You don't go into someone's waters and over their air and think that that's going to be okay, especially a country like Iran who, again, they can't wait. They can't wait to unleash the beast, so to speak. The Israeli submarines left the waters of the Red Sea where they had been recently and after crossing, etc. According to information, Israel submarines passed the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and proceeded further into the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf, attempting to approach Iranian territory to conduct reconnaissance operations and simulate missile launches against land targets. Okay, so that was at 2015 military time today. Now, if you move to in the Middle East, this is coming from a Greek news reporter, so they're in that time zone here. Now, at 2114, the biggest attack so far, Israelis and Americans bomb with AC-130, AH-64 Apache and fighter jets Iranian targets in Syria. Okay, so you've got them moving into Iranian airspace, and now they're literally U.S. and Israel are bombing Iranian targets in Syria. So this is the biggest bombing so far. Now the U.S. is involved. So if the U.S. is involved, what does that mean? That means the Prince of Rosh has to be involved as well. Before it was just kind of Israel bombing, Hezbollah targets, but now the U.S. is involved, which means Russia is going to get involved. It just kind of is the protocol there. They're the allies supporting each other. The possibility of reviving the Iran nuclear deal is diminishing as U.S. forces launched the largest ever airstrikes against Iranian targets in Syria after Israeli F-35s invaded Iranian airspace. So they went into their airspace and then they bombed the targets in Syria. Earlier, U.S. media reports said that U.S. President Biden rejected all of Iran's proposed concessions to revive the nuclear agreement. Israel was quick to emphasize, however, that any agreement does not bind it and that it will continue to operate against Iran. So, again, the West is, the Western leadership that is corrupt and wants to destroy the current world order so they can bring in, Biden, Mr. B already has his plan to do the one world currency starting on December 13th. We may do a report on that. But he's already bringing that in. They want the one world order, so they're trying to get the hook in the jaw of Putin any way they can to turn this into a world war and not just a Ukrainian, exercise, as he claimed it was from the beginning. The United States does not seek conflict with Iran, but we will continue to take the necessary steps to protect and defend our people. The fire has broken out on a mountainside during Israeli airstrikes in Masyaf a short while ago. Here's a little bit of video from that. I guess that's a fire as a result of the airstrikes that took place. So, okay. Keep going here. So, Syrian air defense active in Safida as Israel airstrikes have been reported in the area a short while ago. And so you see the Syrian air defense flying in this video. So, it's happening, guys. I mean, this is destiny. It's destiny. People are fulfilling destiny. They don't even realize they're fulfilling God's plan. God had this in the Bible a long time ago. We're going to look at a couple of scriptures on that. But this was his plan a long time ago, and now it is all coming to fruition. What appears to be an Israeli munition striking a target in Safida area a short time ago. Okay, here's a munition strike. And I'm not sure where Safida is, I guess. Excuse me. I guess that's in Syria. Safita, we'll have to look that. Okay, you see that little white ball going across there? It's striking a military target there in Safida. So that's what's happening there. And it looks like smoke up there. Okay. Syrian air defense missile launch. Let's see this one. During reported airstrikes. Okay, here's a missile launch during airstrikes Masyaf a short while ago. Let's see if we can get this to play. Okay, so I think that's the same image of that ball. Like, what is that? Looks like a UFO. Doesn't even look like a typical missile. I don't know what that is. That's wild. It's like a little silver ball. Silver ball. Okay, so anyway, I'm digressing here. Okay, explosions continue in the Masyaf area tonight after reported Israel airstrikes. Wow. So remember, they're on a different time zone than us. So, I'm in Eastern time around 4:30 right now, afternoon. But in other parts, it's nighttime. And so they're doing Israeli airstrikes in Masyaf. I'm assuming Masyaf is also in Syria. Again, we got to get our map out here and get on top of these different towns. But we know Damascus is going to ultimately get struck, according to biblical prophecy. Secondary explosions at a site in Masyaf tonight after reported Israeli airstrikes targeted the area. So the U.S. is involved now, guys, and this isn't an offensive. They're not just this isn't just Iron Dome stuff anymore. Now they are taking an offensive and really moving in. And if the U.S. is getting involved, then the Prince of Russia is going to come down and get involved as well. It's just, a question of timing. And in Russia, they have actually almost assassinated the president of their parliament. And so as a result, says emergency meeting of the Duma in Ukraine. There was an attempted assassination of the president of the Russian parliament. You may have heard that in the news. Unfortunately, sadly, his daughter was actually killed instead of him. It was supposed to be him. The car was exploded, and there were two cars. He was supposed to be in the one, but I guess he switched cars at the last second for some reason. It sounds a little suspicious if you ask me. Why would you suddenly just happen to switch at that moment? But in any case, he did. Whether that was Providence protecting him or whether he was somehow knew what was going to happen, I don't know. It's just an interesting coincidence, perhaps, but in any case, her car was blown up instead, and he survived, but it was an attempted assassination on him. And so Putin is meeting with the Duma to talk about what to do, because this is obviously, that's grounds for war right there. There's so many grounds for war going on here, it ain't even funny. So, you try to assassinate the president of someone's parliament. It's like if when Nancy Pelosi had gone to Taiwan, if they had tried to blow up her vehicle, that would have been grounds for war, regardless of how you feel about Nancy Pelosi. It still would have been grounds for war, according to the U.S., because she is the head, she's the third in line for the presidency in the U.S., and this guy is the head of the Russian parliament. So Putin is now figuring out what he wants to do. Now you've got U.S. moving in with Israel and Iran, and that's pushing him, that's putting the hook in the jaw. That's saying, oh, man, they tried to assassinate my president of my parliament. Now they're down there messing around with Iran, who Putin and Iran are like best buddies right now, and Iran considers Russia to be their primary ally. They've said that publicly, that Russia is Iran's primary ally. So if Iran's in need, they're counting on Russia to come and get them out of this struggle and this strife. So that the hook is going to be in his jaw. See, the hook is like he doesn't want to go down. He doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't want to have to fight that war, but he's going to have to fight it, and it's going to have to focus on Israel because that's just part of the deal. I guess this is a video of Putin arriving at the Kremlin. Not sure if all that entails. I guess, that's his whole entourage arriving at the Kremlin. Okay. And so anyway, so that's moving them. So then you got Iran over here saying, well, we're not going to stand for that. So we're going to arm militias in a chilling NUKE plot. So it says World War III fears over Israel have exploded as Iran is to arm its militias in a chilling NUKE plot, a leading NUKE expert has told Express. And I think this is actually a film of their nuclear facility where they're enriching their uranium. It says they threatened to build their NUKE warheads in chilling videos. So, we all know they just want to bomb Israel and the U.S. to smithereens. So why they're even considering a deal with them is obviously outrageous. Doesn't make any sense to any logical thinking person. But these people aren't logical. They're diabolical, and they're determined on destroying everyone in the process. So here they are enriching their uranium. It looks like this is their facility there where they're doing that. And IR6, so that's the uranium, I reckon. The Iranian in Iran. So there you go. So that's what's going on, guys. And it's all biblical. It's all going according to biblical plan. Just a real quick jot through the scriptures here. It talks about in Ezekiel 27, it says, all who live in the coastlands, well, actually, he says in Ezekiel 39, I will send fire on Magog and on those who live in safety in the coastlands, and they will know that I am the Lord. It could be that the coastlands are referring to the U.S. People say, is the U.S. in the Bible? And we know Mystery Babylon seems to point to the U.S. and also the coastlands because they are living in safety. You know, the U.S., one of the reasons it's been prosperous and safe is because it does have these coastlands, two major oceans on either side that guard it and protect it. And so there's a chance that fire is going to, well, not a chance, it's biblical prophesied that fire is going to go land on Magog, i.e. perhaps NUKEs, and also those who live in safety in the coastlands. So something to consider there as the U.S. is now officially getting involved. Ezekiel 38 talks about Gog and Magog, the chief prince of Rosh, i.e. Russia, Meshech, and Tubal, which includes Turkey. Then we've got Persia, which is Iran, Cush, Ethiopia, Libya, all these different nations pulling together. And they're going to have to pull together because of alliances. You know, it's not necessarily because they want to go fight against Israel, but because, you know, they want the perks of being an ally. They don't want to be considered an enemy. So you kind of have to get involved by default. And we know that whole prophecy where he's going to come down and then God himself is going to strike them down. So this may all, guys, tie in, as we have talked many times, this may all end up tying in with the time of Christ's return. The great earthquake prophesied in Revelation 6, and Christ coming to take his kids home at the same time, obliterating the Prince of Rosh, Gog, Magog, and their armies and lying on the hills. I mean, it's all coming together. It's all coming together at the same time. So there's a lot looking at that. Of course, we've got Psalm 83 as well. We're looking at being fulfilled, where they say, come, let's destroy them as a nation so that Israel's name is remembered no more. And these are all the internal nations, places like Jordan, Assyria, and so forth, Lebanon, and all the internal nations, which will probably have to join forces as well because, again, it's kind of like you either join the forces or you're considered an enemy. And then Damascus, we're also looking at being destroyed as well. Damascus is to be wiped out. It will be taken away from being a city. It should become a ruinous heap. So they've been bombing around Damascus, including the airport, but they haven't quite taken out the city yet. Again, not that we want any destruction to fall upon anybody, but it's all going according to biblical plan. You know, this is prophesied thousands of years ago, and now it's all finally being fulfilled. So just a quick update there, guys. Wanted to give you that. And I'm going to come back probably and do a touch on perhaps a little bit about rapture timing. But guys, great to see everybody today in the chat. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these notification updates. Make sure they're still checked because sometimes for some reason this outlet will unsubscribe and unnotify people. They think you're a robot or something. So just make sure that that's still checked for you there. And thank you so much for helping to support this channel so we can continue to bring you these updates. We love you and may God bless you and get right with Jesus because he is coming back. Talk to you soon.